Hi everyone, I'm Zachary, and this is my schoolmate Cassandra.
We are part of the Holy Childhood Kidz.
We help kids all over the world.
It's all part of life at school. Study, play, pray, have fun, and learn.
About theater arts, and video editing, and growing stuff to eat.
And planning for our futures, and for the future of the whole world.
That's where Holy Childhood comes in.
Through Holy Childhood, kids all across Canada are helping to make the world a better place.
So join us on an adventure around the world. We will explore the lives of children who in some ways are just like us. In other ways, they live lives that are really, really different.
Together, we are the Holy Childhood Kidz. Together, we can make the world a better place. Today, we are going to visit Papua New Guinea, or PNG for short. A country in the southwestern part of the Pacific Ocean, PNG occupies the eastern half of the island of New Guinea, just north of Australia. The western part is the home of the provinces of Papua and West Papua, which are part of the country of Indonesia. PNG also includes about 600 smaller islands in the region. The landscape is made up of mountains and lowlands, with dense rainforests on the coastal areas, and the island is surrounded by coral reefs.
Amongst its population of 6 million people, there are many different cultures within Papua New Guinea. Together, they speak 820 indigenous languages. This represents more than 10% of the world's total languages. Despite all this cultural richness, Papua New Guinea's people are amongst the poorest in the world.
One of the biggest challenges really is that Papua New Guinea is located in the middle of a very strong economic world. It is surrounded by China, Japan, Indonesia, Singapore on the north, and on the south is Australia and New Zealand. Papua New Guinea was the last one on the block to get started. So to produce something to also participate in the economy is very, very hard. So one of the main problems is lack of employment. The unemployment ratio or percentage is something like 70–80%.
People live in small villages, and many people hunt and collect wild plants to supplement their diets. Those who become skilled at hunting, farming, and fishing earn a great deal of respect.
Women plant gardens and tend pigs, while the men look after cash crops such as bananas, sugarcane, coffee, and cocoa. While women are allowed to harvest the cash crops, most of the income goes to men.
In Papua New Guinea, you can find many varieties of bananas, papaya, rice, and sweet potato. Coconuts that sway in the tops of high palm trees are used not only in the kitchen, but also for personal hygiene and healing. Coconut soap smells and foams beautifully. Oil heals burns and scratches, and believe it or not, can run car engines.
Missionaries value this because the only island gas station lacks fuel. One coconut can do 1 kilometer, but under one condition. The temperature must not fall below 23 degrees Celsius. Then the oil solidifies. But it never gets that cold on the island.
Faith is very important to the people of Papua New Guinea, with 96% of the country counting themselves as Christians. 27% of the country is Roman Catholic. That means that there are 2 million Catholics living there. There are other minorities as well, with small numbers of the Baha'i and Muslim faiths.
Pope John Paul II especially loved the people of Papua New Guinea, visiting it first in 1984 to celebrate 100 years of church missionary presence there. He visited again in 1995 to celebrate the beatification of Peter Thurot. Peter Thurot was born in Papua New Guinea and grew up to become an outstanding lay catechist who would die for his faith in 1945 during the Japanese occupation. The missionary church has become very important to PNG's development.
providing many of its schools and hospitals, along with new generations of educated people who could take over the country once it had won its independence from Australia in 1975. And that's where Canada's Holy Childhood Kids come in. We also helped pay for a home for street children that covers all their needs.
We are looking after them. We are trying to give them some sense of peace, some sense of home, because for so many years they've been like nomads, going and camping somewhere and going from place to place. So now they are here so we can send the children to school. We teach them how to look after themselves, skills for survival. That's what we teach them at the center, skills for survival, how they must look after themselves. They work in the garden, they clean their houses, do all sorts of things with them.
Canada's Holy Childhood Kids also help to build schools, pay for uniforms, and buy books. All this is helping PNG's kids get a proper education so they can grow up and help the needy of their country.
Catholic health centers in Papua New Guinea are renowned, and they deal with difficult situations caused by poor hygiene and malnutrition, the presence of AIDS, malaria, typhus, dengue fever, and cancer. 15,000 children under the age of 1 die every year, as do 3,700 mothers because of complications associated with childbirth.
I come from a remote place, and in my place people dying, and there's no there's no nurse to look after them, so that's what I choose to become a nurse, to go back, to go to the people, to go to the villages and look after the patients.
Big problem for us is always to find doctors for the hospital. Because many of the doctors on PNG, they prefer to be public servants. That means their salary is much higher.
The Catholic Church not only provides much of PNG's schools and hospitals, but also the training of the teachers, doctors, and nurses needed for them. It all begins with the development of a strong indigenous church.
Today's PNG's priests, religious sisters, and bishops are locally born, and sometimes they become missionaries, going out to help other parts of the missionary world.
My message to people, God only see from the heart and from the mind. And here in Papua New Guinea, like example, you can see buildings here, and we don't know that example like money comes in. We don't know who really sacrifice all these things, but only God knows. And I think some good people out there, they are contributing from their own heart and intention. And my advice to them is, God has his own way to reward.
Papua New Guinea's kids love to celebrate their faith. Every liturgy is a spectacle of song and dance. But the local church is still very young, and there's lots of work that needs to be done.
And Papua New Guinea's kids know we are helping them. As stay-at-home missionaries, we kids can assist the PNG missionaries through our prayers and donations.
But this is a two-way street. The kids we help us too. They teach us about what is most important in life. Things like having fun, even when you don't have a lot of stuff. Things like the way kids love and care for their parents and other siblings. The way they work hard to help their families survive.
It all begins with getting to know Papua New Guinea's kids a little better. So join us on this great learning adventure. Do a class project based on this video on Papua New Guinea. Write the Holy Childhood Association to get more background. Raise some money.
Holy Childhood will let you know how the money is spent. Above all, keep these kids in Papua New Guinea in your prayers. For sure, they will be praying for you. Together, all the Holy Childhood kids of the world are forming a huge circle of love. It's where you belong.